It's the deal, man. It's $$. It's AGTV. Taylor Gang. Pushing the label. And look.
Welcome back to the Joe Show. After 18 long years, 2 men were indicted for the death of Jam Master Jay, the DJ for Run DMC, in Queens Supreme Court earlier today. And today in my studio, I have Jam Master Jay's nephew, Rodney Jones, aka rapper Boe Skagz from Hollis, Queens. Thanks for joining me today, Rodney.
No doubt, no doubt.
So why don't you tell me, how did you feel today finding out after 18 years this cold case had been allegedly solved?
It was kind of bittersweet. It was, I felt relieved and sad at the same time. It was a lot of emotions flowing, you know what I'm saying? You know, I was sad because my mother and my grandmother and my other Uncle Marvin, they wasn't around to even, you know, feel this moment of clarity, you know what I'm saying? And then I was kind of relieved from, you know, having to carry that around for so long. You know, it's hard when you got somebody that you love like that, and they get murdered, you know what I'm saying, in cold blood, and then you never know who did it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's just you know, it's a good feeling to actually have that starting the process to closure, you know what I'm saying?
Right, because you did see him in the studio that day, unfortunately, right?
Yes.
After the fact.
Yes, I saw him on the floor.
And I'm sure that was extremely traumatizing.
Yes, that's something that I got to keep in my mind. That stays in my mind forever, you know.
I know. You can't unsee something like that. Especially, this was not just your uncle, this was like your father. He was very paternalistic with you. He was a father figure. He practically raised you.
Yes, he was instrumental in my life for sure. My father wasn't around like that, so Jay raised me, you know what I'm saying? He showed me the ins and outs of life, you know, he taught me everything that I need to know about growing up and like being a man and just growing, period.
Right, and he also was instrumental in your career.
Right. It wasn't for him.
He taught you everything you knew.
Yeah, if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't even been in the music business, you know what I'm saying? He was the one that made music, it was a family business because of him, you know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. So were you aware how close the police were to catching these 2 alleged murderers?
No, I didn't know. It was shocking news for me today, like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know how close they were. I didn't even know that they had their eye on 2 specific people. Like, I didn't even know that I didn't know
When were you first aware that they had reopened this cold case? You said you were on the West Coast?
Yeah, it was about 5 or 6 years, something like that, 4 or 5 years ago. And I had...
you were living on the West Coast?
Yeah, I was living on the West Coast. But prior to that, I had been arrested for something in Queens. And while I was in the precinct, I was having a conversation with another guy that was in the cell next to me. And he was like, "Oh, I recognize you Boe Skagz, Jam Master Jay nephew." So we and him started talking, and I guess the police, like the guards that was there, they must have overheard us talking, because a few minutes after that, they came to me and they was like, "They want to talk to you upstairs. You Jam Master Jay nephew. They've been looking for you. They've been looking to talk to you." So I didn't know who they was talking about. So we go upstairs, and it's like the cold case squad, and they started asking me all these questions and about people who I didn't know, and I didn't know the names that they was mentioning. And, you know, so that actually went nowhere, excuse me. And I got released, and a few months later, maybe 6 months to a year later, I get a knock on my door when I'm in California. I go look out the door, it's police. So I'm thinking that it's Los Angeles police. And I'm like, well, what did I do out here? You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I was involved with some different stuff around that time. So I'm like, well, what did I do? And I'm like, well, I come to the door. I'm like, what's going on? Officers like, what did I do? And they're like, well, no, we are from New York City Police Department. We're NYPD, and we need to talk to you about your uncle's murder. And I'm like, well, how did y'all find out that I was here? You know what I'm saying? Like, came directly to my house in California. So I rode around. So I got in the car with them. I rode around with them for a little bit, and you know, they let me know that the case was reopened and that they were investigating, and they asked me what I knew about the case, and which was not much because I wasn't there in the studio actually. But I told them everything that I knew. I told them what I knew. I told them my theory. You know what I'm saying? So I told them what I knew. I told them my theory, which could have been true or not true. You know what I'm saying? I let them know that like what I'm telling you could be true or could be false. But this is just rumors that I've heard and my theory of what happened to my uncle and why I think it happened. You know what I'm saying? And so they took that, and I never heard from them again. That was like 5 years ago.
Right. So what were those street rumors?
I mean, a lot of them I don't really want to get into, but it was like the two guys that they indicted today. They were implicated in every rumor that I heard. You know what I'm saying? There was a rumor that they came in there to rob Jay of a chain that he bought for me, a $50,000 chain with a basketball piece on it.
Why did he have your chain?
Because it was worth $50,000, and he didn't want me to. At that time, I was young. I was like 20, 21 years old. He didn't want me to be active in the street with a $50,000 chain on, running around the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying?
So he was holding it for you.
Yeah. So he was holding it for me, and so that was like one of the rumors that I heard, and I heard. But they basically was kind of like different stories, but I just believe just the one thing about every story that was consistent, and it was these two guys' names that was consistent in every story. It was other names added, but these two names were the consistent ones in all the stories.
Right. Well, in spite of their names coming up repeatedly from day one, there was someone else that everyone kept implicating. The people kept saying, oh, it was this guy, but you never thought it was him.
Yeah, that was this guy named Randy Allen.
And who was Randy Allen?
Randy Allen was Jay's best friend, and he was my partner in the rap group that me and him had called Rusty Waters. He was actually Jam Master Jay's last group that he had. And from the beginning, I always said that Randy had nothing to do with it. I didn't like the way our business was being handled after Jay died, as far as our monies from the deal and stuff like that. So that's what me and Randy had our problem at. But far as Jay,
so you had a falling out behind that.
But far as Jay goes with his murder, I never felt that Jay had anything to do with it. My problem was always with how did his sister receive as much money as I was receiving from the deal that I got. She didn't do shit. And I still feel that way. Why the fuck did she get as much money as I got? I still feel like that. And but that was the only issue that I had with Randy was our business, and he didn't do business correctly. You know what I'm saying? Like our business wasn't.
You thought he was unethical.
Yeah, I thought he was robbing me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I thought he was.
Older.
I thought he was robbing me. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't think he had my best interest in mind because he wasn't my uncle, and I didn't believe he had my best interest in mind. I looked at him like an uncle because he was really close friends with my uncle for so long, but as we started progressing while my uncle was gone, I started to realize that he didn't have my best interest in mind, and that 9 times out of 10 he was ripping me off for the money that I was supposed to make. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But nonetheless, you protected him. Because
I actually felt in my heart, and I still feel in my heart to this day, that he had nothing to do with Jay getting killed. I always knew that he knew who it was. How
do you still think that?
I still believe he knew. I still believe he knew. Just now I was watching the live with his brother, Teddy Allen. His brother said out of his own mouth that Randy knew.
Wow.
So I always knew that was my. I mean, if you watch anything that I ever said, like any interview I ever did, I always say Randy didn't have nothing to do with it, but I believe he knows.
Right.
He knows what's going on. I believe he knows more than he leads on.
Right.
Did he have something to do with it? No. Do he know the players? Yes.
So people, you said, were actually calling and threatening to kill him.
Yes, and they would say, you should stop standing so close to Randy so we can kill him, or you should. And
then they would hang up.
Yes. Or they would tell me, I was getting my own death threats. People were calling me, telling me they was going to kill me, and they would say, different things, and every single person, every old school cat that grew up with my uncle, they all believed that Randy did it. Every single one of them. You know what I'm saying? They hated me for protecting him. You know what I'm saying? They hated me for saying he didn't have nothing to do with it. They hated me for that.
So why do you think they were able to crack the case now? Do you think that it's because these new detectives that came on and reopened the case?
I think the police told me that somebody was going to jail for this. They said that there's from Queens. They said Jam Master Jay was one of their favorites, and they wasn't letting this go down like this. No matter how long it takes, they was going to do it. They was going to find it. They was going to put it together. I believe that these police came with different tactics than the original police on the case. I think the cold case squad came with different tactics.
Mm-hmm. I had heard you mention earlier that they had threatened people and said that from here on in, anyone who does not tell what they know,
anyone who doesn't cooperate is going to jail for conspiracy.
So do you think that maybe possibly that's how they were able to get the indictment? Do you think that it had something to do with maybe this guy Randy or his sister? Knowing what happened, possibly.
Possibly they could have. Lydia could have helped. It's possible that somebody could have said something. It's possible that one of them two could have slipped up and told somebody something. It's a lot of possibilities. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just happy that the police, that the NYPD never quit. You know what I'm saying? I'm just happy that they kept going, that they kept going hard for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, all right. So tell me a little bot about your career at that time. I know you were about to go on tour with Virgin Records.
Yeah, it was a lot of things going on. I had my tour. I was going on tour the next day. The next day after Jay got killed, he was already scheduled to go on tour the next day. So he wasn't going with us. He was staying back to mix the album. And, it just was, typical life of a rapper. Like, we just was, prepping, going shopping, getting haircuts and, getting my weed ready, getting my weed stash ready, getting everything that I needed ready that I was going to need for this 6 weeks I was going to be on the road. So, excuse me, it just was, it was the best time of my life and the worst time of my life at the same time, because I finally got the deal, and I finally got a deal that I felt I deserved, and my uncle got killed. So it was like,
tragic.
What kind of fun is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of fun is, winning the lottery and losing a ticket? You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. Very traumatizing. So then what happened to your career after that? Because I know you have a catalog of 40,000 songs. You've featured on like major rap artists' songs. They featured on yours.
Yeah,
you've been signed to major labels.
Well, Virgin Records kind of, this is my interpretation. After my uncle died, the label shelved us, right? And
which is sudden death to an artist.
Yeah, it's worse than being dropped.
Worse.
So they shelved us, and then they blackballed us, right? So they shelved us, and then the rumors started to spread about me and my partner that I was rapping with, Randy Allen. The rumors started to spread, and then nobody wanted to work with us. Nobody wanted to be around us. We was the death crew, like Jam Master Jay's murder crew, you know what I'm saying? Like, so nobody wanted to touch that. Nobody wanted to be. I had to fight to get off the label.
Not even Loud Records.
Nobody wanted to touch it. It was real sticky at the time. You know what I'm saying? And I just kind of actually lost the taste for music after that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to be like popular. I didn't want to be accessible to people. I didn't want to be under the microscope that came with being Jam Master Jay's nephew. Right. I just didn't want that vibe in my life anymore, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it was so painful on top of it all, and then
I kind of took some years off and let my momentum die down, and
you went through some bad times as a result of it. You were saying.
Yeah, I went through a lot of bad times.
Personally.
Yeah, a lot of personal things. You know what I'm saying? Like, just stuff that maybe, just some real things that some people might go through. you know, some of it is hard to speak about. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
understandable.
But
Yeah.
it was a really, really rough time for me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just happy to be like here now and okay. You know what I'm saying? And out of that time in life. You know what I'm saying? Like I went through things. I was homeless. I was pimping. I was on drugs, and just my life just spiraled all the way out of control. And then you know, I was like lost. And but you know, God fixes everything, so I'm here now. So
Well, how did that happen though? Like you found God, and then are you? I mean,
yeah, I mean, I got saved. It was probably, if not the best day ever in my life. You know what I'm saying? And it changed me. I mean, you know, nobody changes overnight. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm still a work in progress. You know what I'm saying? Which is cliche, but it's the truth. I'm still working on bettering myself, but you know, it's baby steps, and I'm taking the right steps to you know, walk more with God and get an understanding of who He is and what He wants me to do, and why I'm here. You know,
well, that's a beautiful thing. So, one last question: if Jay were here in the studio today, if you could ask him or tell him one thing, what would it be?
I would just tell him thank you. I would say thank you for showing me everything that you showed me and teaching me everything that you taught me. Giving me the opportunity to be that close to you, to learn stuff, because you know, like a lot of people got famous people in their family and stuff like that, and they don't know them. You know what I'm saying? So I would just thank him for giving me the opportunity to be joint at the hip, you know what I'm saying? So I can know more than my neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? So I can see more places than, you know, so I can experience what it feels like to actually be somebody and be something better than the stats, you know what I'm saying? Stats of a black man from the neighborhood. He gave me the opportunity to be more than that. So I would thank him.
That's a beautiful thing. Well, thank you for joining me today, Bo, and all my best to you and your family, and best of luck in all that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's up? It's your #1 Coke Boy Chinks, and you're watching AGTV.